Hello, how are you today? This is Dr. Otto Janke, and I wanted to apologize to your class for the incredibly terrible connection we had with the first time we tried to meet a couple weeks ago. So what I decided to do was to take our PowerPoint, the PowerPoint I was going to show you that night, and then put it into a video for you. So I hope you like this. And this was going to be a talk I was going to do for you that night, but we're going to do it for you now. And then you can actually reference this back if you want to and take a look at it more and more. I was going to talk to you that night, as I will right now, about what I consider to be the biggest lies in nutrition. Absolutely the biggest lies in nutrition. Understand that nutrition has changed. You would think that it would never have changed because food is food, good food is good food, bad food is bad food. I would like to think that would be that way, but it's not. It's not. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be changing my where I am here on this the video. So I'll be moving me around here, make it more convenient for you to see. So if we're looking here at one of the biggest lies in nutrition is that all calories are the same. All calories are the same. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what you eat because all calories are the same. And that's just the biggest freaking lies there ever was because of this. If you're going to tell me that the food over there, that is those 3 donuts, is the same calories as that incredibly beautiful, beautiful amount of vegetables. If it's the same, then here's the key. If all calories are the same, which we know they're not, if they are all the same, then it doesn't matter what you eat. If it doesn't matter what you eat, it doesn't matter what you buy. Take it one step farther. If it doesn't matter what you buy, then it doesn't matter what I market to you. That's where it comes from, that all calories are the same. All calories are the same because from a marketing standpoint, it doesn't matter what you eat. To your body, it's a dramatic difference, a dramatic difference. The food over there, those things, the 3 donuts right there, massive amounts of simple sugars. I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, probably 4 or 5 different kinds of sugars in there at one time. Simple sugars. We know that simple sugars are going to be 1, pro-inflammatory. Inflammation is what we're looking at, the basis of literally all diseases right now. Chronic inflammation, chronic unrestricted systemic inflammation is the basis of all disease right now, be it from cardiovascular to Alzheimer's, dementia, and everything in between. If you think that stuff over there, which is pro-inflammatory, causes cancer, causes dramatic type 2 diabetes, and a whole range of stuff is the same as that stuff, I mean, you got to be kidding me. Those vegetables there, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, promote cognitive promote cognitive thought and health. One of the things you're taught on a regular basis is that if the calories are all the same, then it doesn't matter what you eat. Doesn't matter what you eat, doesn't matter what you buy, doesn't matter what you buy, doesn't matter what I market to you. That's where it comes from. Just a big lie. All calories aren't equal. They don't stay with you the same. They don't burn the same. And they have dramatically different effects upon you. Second one is that good carbs and bad carbs. You're told this, I mean, I've heard this for years. And you look at where this comes from, it's from the high protein sector saying that good carbs and bad carbs. Well, when you're told about good carbs and bad carbs, you're told typically that carbs are bad. Well, how could they possibly be? Once again, let's look at our 2 dishes here. Dishes over there, the 3 donuts, massively different than the ones over there, which is, once again, fights cancer, decreases the blood sugars. I mean, optimizes your blood sugars, allows your body to heal better. I mean, let's be real simple. How do you think you're going to heal better? Eating 3 donuts or eating extremely healthy vegetables? How do you think your brain's going to function? How do you think you're going to be able to sleep, digest? I mean, it's dramatically different. And to say that all carbs are the same is just a big lie. It's like saying all proteins are the same, like saying all fats are the same. They're just not. They can't be. The quality is dramatically different. Quality is dramatically different. And again, it's another one of those lies that we see in nutrition. Here's a crazy thing that I think you should start really understanding. And it's not talked about nearly enough, not nearly enough when it comes to nutrition. And one is eating and the environment. How much water does it cost to grow the foods you eat? And this part is, I mean, California is still going through, besides having all the wildfires that are going on right now in 2020, the amount of water that they do not have, the droughts they've had for years. But how much water does it cost for the foods that you eat? Now take a look at this. I'll move this out of the way for you. Move me out of the way. For that 1 ounce, for that 6 ounces of steak, look at the very top, the 6 ounces of steak, and 6 ounces of steak is nothing. It cost 674 gallons of water. 674 gallons. For that one hamburger, including the bread, the meat, the lettuce, and the tomato, it's 660 gallons. Well, if we go down the bottom for that one salad, including the tomatoes, the lettuce, and cucumbers, it's 21 gallons. Can you see that sooner or later we have to start eating for our environment, not just for us, but for our environment also? A dramatically important part when it comes to you and I being around for the next number of decades. I bring this up to you because I'm 57. You're going to be around for decades past me. We need to start preparing the earth, the world now for your next best decades. I'm not saying you have to become a veg head. I'm saying you're probably going to have to, though. I'm not saying you have to now. You're going to want to look into it, though. Why? Because feeding water and crops to the cow for us to then eat the cow decreases our resources dramatically. And not at the levels, I mean, it was done, I mean, you know, what was done 100 years ago isn't done that way anymore. It's not done this way anymore. We use so much more water now than we ever did before. We have so much more grazing. I mean, it's just the facts. That's the facts. This is something you guys should really start like looking into. How much water does it cost? It's amazing. We look at the macro and micronutrients versus rocket fuel. I have people ask me on a regular basis, how do you get your protein? Well, let me ask you a question then. That's a great question. How do you get your protein? If I'm a veg head, I'm vegetables first. So if I have a plate this big, probably about that amount is animal protein. How do I get the protein then? So for the ladies and gentlemen who are watching this, one of the big things we are told is that if you want to grow muscle, you have to have protein. Well, if you want to grow muscle, you have to stimulate the muscle. There's no other way to grow muscle. You want to develop a muscle, you have to stimulate the muscle. How you repair from that is massively important. But the only way, the best way to grow muscle is to stimulate it. And how do you stimulate it? You put a weight on it. You stress it. So sometimes you're going to lift weights, sometimes you're going to cardiovascular, you're going to run or swim or something like that. That's the way you grow muscle. You stress it. How do you repair from that? How do you repair from that? Is you give your body the best nutrients. So we have a lot of people ask me, how do I get my protein? Well, let's look at the Paleolithic diet, the paleo diet. The paleo diet is based, first of all, now it's been bastardized tremendously to think that you eat like a half a pound or a pound of bacon a day, when it's incredible to think that the Paleolithic man, the Paleolithic hunter, back then, they were a tremendously not good hunter. They were, from the studies you look at, they were probably good at hunting, probably about 7 to 10% of the time. 7 to 10% of the time. So let's say they go out every day for 10 days. One day out of that 10 day, they killed something. They killed an animal. Now, that animal might be a deer. Another time, it might be a rabbit. That food has got to sustain them, because he or she are going to be not going to get anything for like 9 days. Now, how long did that meat last? Well, it's not like they could put it, wrap it up in Tupperware and put it in the refrigerator for a couple of days. No, it went bad very, very quickly, within a day. Or there are other animals going to come around and get it. They had it for a very short period of time. So how are we able to get this time now in 2020, when we did not have good forms of hunting, didn't have refrigerators, and didn't have supermarkets to go to? How do we get our protein? Great question. Well, undoubtedly there has to be protein other places than just in animals. I'd highly recommend you look that up. Find where protein is. You're going to find protein is going to be in plants also. It has to be. It has to be. I mean, take a look. I mean, imagine this, that if I'm not hunting really well, I catch something every 7 or 10 days. If I need those macronutrients, then they need to be in other sources also. Pretty important stuff right there. Here's a crazy part that is overlooked tremendously. I'm a veg head. I've been a veg head for a couple of years. I was a die-hard meat and potato eater for years. And I decided I need to find a better, healthier way to eat, not only for me, but for our planet also. And so you start looking at where some books, and there's going to be 3 or 4 books right here I'm going to recommend you read. The first one is this, the China study. It's the largest nutrition study done. Right there. The most comprehensive study of nutrition ever conducted. What's amazing is Thomas T. Colin Campbell is over at Cornell. I interviewed him, I've interviewed him a couple of times, and he was the keynote speaker for our first, I have a symposium called the Empire Longevity Symposium. He was our keynote speaker. Fascinating man. Here they looked at this. How do you want to be around the longest without having the cardiovascular disease, which is the #1 killer of Americans, and cancers? How can I dramatically decrease those 2 things? If we dramatically decrease those 2 things, which are based upon your lifestyle, what you eat, what you don't eat, how you move, how you move, and how you don't move. If we can dramatically decrease those, we have an opportunity to just expand your good years on the earth. Not only expanding your years, but expanding your good years on earth. I'll tell you the truth. I don't care if I live to be 100 or whatever it is, 90. If I'm not going to be able to move for 20 of those last 20 years. Same as you. Same as you. You don't want to be around for 80, 90 years. If those last 20 years are just going to stink, you're not going to be able to move and have fun and be active in your community, in your life, and your kids, your grandkids, your friends' life. Be able to laugh, live, and love more. If we could decrease opportunity for cancers and cardiovascular disease, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? So Campbell goes to China and finds out what those people there were doing. What did he find out? It's very simple. I'll cut to the chase for you. More vegetables, better. It's just that. More fruits and vegetables, the better off you are. The more fruits and vegetables, the better off you are. And some of you are going to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I want to have my animal eat the stuff. I'm not going to tell you to stop. What I'm going to tell you is what the people who are around the earth, what they're doing to live the longest. Then you look at this. If we know what the #1 killer of Americans is, which is cardiovascular disease, and if I told you there is a proven way of eating, which can reverse. It's this. The only one way of eating has ever been proven to reverse heart disease in the majority of patients. A diet centered around whole plant foods. If that's all whole food plant-based diet could do, reverse or our number one killer, shouldn't that be the default diet until proven otherwise? Isn't that a great question? If we know that we could dramatically reverse or prevent cardiovascular disease, shouldn't that be the default eating style program until proven otherwise? You'd sure freaking think so, man. You know, we look at this book right here by Caldwell Esselstyn, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. I mean, let's be realistic. This is a highly researched book that shows if you do this, you're going to prevent and or reverse the heart disease. You know, it makes sense to me that if we know that if cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of Americans, they eat like this, we could dramatically decrease the number one killer. Doesn't that make sense to do that first? It sure does. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to me. And what do the people who live the longest eat? Great question. Man, I wish there was a book that had researched that. Whoa, holy cow, there is. It's called The Blue Zones. The Blue Zones by Beitner. Lessons for living longer from people who live the longest. Amazing. So he went around the world and found communities in different countries all over the world. One of them's actually in America. Around the world, I mean, it's kind of amazing. There's one in America. Around the world, and he found out that these people were living well, not just in their 90s and 100s, well in their 90s and 100s. They were active and they participated in the community. They were active and participated in the community, which means they were living, laughing, living, all that sort of stuff. Working, having friendships, relationships, not just hooked up to a machine in front of a TV, watching the same, stupid game show that there was on repeated yesterday. And there's a commonality to all the way these people eat. First of all, they're all active. Unlike most Americans, they're active. It means they're up and doing stuff every single day. Two is that they have a plant-based diet. A plant-based diet. It may not be 100% plant-based, but it's a plant-based diet. The one in America is in Loma Linda, and they are Seventh-day Adventists, I believe. Fascinating book. And other people who live long. Great book by Walter Longo. Longo wanted to find out, why is it the people, he's an Italian guy living in America now, why is it when he went back to his community in Italy, why those people were still active, living well in their 80s, 90s, and 100s? Active. Not just once again, not just in front of a TV, finding out, once again, how a stupid game show is going on, or the Real Housewives of Cortland. I don't know, Discover how we did this. And what they found was this, once again, plant-based. That's first thing. Second of all is that the people would go through and do some form of fasting. It means they would stop eating during the day. It means once you're done at nighttime, you're done at nighttime. Once you're done at dinner, you're done. And sometimes they wouldn't eat for another 12 to 18 hours afterwards. What you're also looking at is a thing that's called autophagy. Auto, A-U-T-O, phagy, P-H-A-G-Y. Autophagy is that it's a way of your body hitting a point where it now sends out It sends out the cells to go find the scavenger. I shouldn't say scavenge, but it goes and finds bad cells, either ones that are broken, need repairing, or cancer cells. And your body goes and finds that, and it fights as the way it should. And that's really kicked in. I think it's when you get in about hour 14 or 16 into autophagy, when you're not eating. And so you talk about the 5-day fasting mimicking diet. So you can go through and fast. By the way, that is also what the Paleolithic hunter did. He fasted for long times. Why? Because he wasn't that good of a hunter, and they weren't farming yet. And so he fasted. And when you talk to people about fasting, and I fast, and when you talk to people about fasting, they equate it to starving, and it's not. It's going into a time where I'm going to give my body a time to just relax. And the number one energy expenditure you're going to have is on eating and digestion. So in my office, when we have people who are going through irritable bowel syndromes, we recommend they start by going through a fast. Yeah, maybe shut down the system so it doesn't not always taxed all the time. I mean, it's kind of important right there. What was that? Great book though, fantastic book, Longevity by Longo. Another great resource for you is nutritionfacts.org, is a website from another person I've interviewed, Dr. Michael Greger. This is a free site. I highly recommend it. All the stuff is massively researched on there. And he has 2 great books. One's called How Not to Die, and the other one's called How Not to Diet. Highly recommend you read both of them. I'll give you the down low on both of them. How Not to Die is you need to start getting much more plant-based. How Not to Diet is very, very simple. Because we have a lot of people talk to us about diets, losing weight. Is you flood yourself. How Not to Diet simple is, instead of going through and counting calories, you flood your body with incredibly great food. Super healthy food. Super healthy food. And your body naturally says, I don't need any more. Here's the thing. You talk about on commercials, was it Pringles in the tube? How you can't have just one? Well, you can't have just one because they've tricked your taste buds and your neurochemistry into being unable to have only one. But here's a question for you. How many times you've sat down and said, I just had an apple, I think I'll have another, or 2 or 3. And you don't do that because your body goes, we are good. We don't need any more. So you flood your body with fantastic foods, and your body naturally says, I would prefer, and here's a big thing I want you guys to get from today. I need to have high nutrient, low calorie foods. Get this, guys. High nutrient, low calorie foods. The foods that we typically eat in America, because we believe I want to be able to taste food, not taste foods, but I want to eat the foods that we are comfort foods, which is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Comfort foods. Stupid. Because those foods are high calorie, low nutrient. Let's take, for instance, mac and cheese. High calorie, low nutrient. Your body craves high nutrient, runs best on high nutrient, decreases inflammation on, heals better by having high nutrient, low calorie foods. In America, we got it backwards. We go for high calorie, low nutrient. Why do you think fast foods do so well? Because they're high calorie, low nutrient, but they have other chemicals in them. They have the chemicals in them that make you go like this. Oh, that was good. Oh, I just got to have that. I got to have that. Dieting's easy. And then you also drink a ton of water. That's great stuff for you. Just great stuff. If you have any questions, here's my last thing for you, is that sometimes to be more, we have to eat less. But you eat rocket fuel. You start eating rocket fuel. fantastic for you. If you have any questions, always feel free to email me. I'm drottojanky@gmail.com. I apologize for our last technical mishaps. I hope you guys got something from this. Here's the one thing I want you to get is this. Two things. One is high nutrient, low calorie foods. Two, there's a way of eating which can dramatically help you to be rocking into your 80s, 90s, and 100s. Because when I talk to people in my practice, how long do you want to be around? And I'm going to ask you, because you guys are in your late teens, early 20s. How long do you want to be around? The vast majority of you are going to say, well, you know, I see the way my parents are living, or my grandparents. I don't want to live like that. They might be in their 60s, 70s, right? I don't want to live like that. So I'm going to come back and be a little bit short of how old they are. And my question always is this. What if we had an opportunity to improve those years? Because we do. Set the foundation for yourself now. Set the foundation for yourself now. And watch you just rock for the next number of decades. It's going to be awesome for you. Any way I can help you, feel free to shoot me an email right there. Thanks.